Hey, what's up everybody, Retro Gaming Guy here. Today in this video we're going to unbox, demo, and review the AceMagic S1 RGB mini PC. Now this PC looks really cool, but let's dive into the specs a little bit here. This mini PC offers a 12th generation Intel Alder Lake N95 processor paired with Intel UHD graphics, 16GB DDR4 RAM, a 512GB M2 SSD, a personalized LCD screen that shows you your PC's important status information, and it also has built-in Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.2. So let's dive into this mini PC and check it out.
All right, guys, here we have our AceMagic mini PC. So we're gonna go ahead and unbox this. All right, so this is definitely smaller than I was anticipating. I thought this was gonna be a much larger tower, which I think that's awesome that it's that compact. Now, let's take a look. We've got our mini PC user manual, and I am familiar with AceMagic. They do have very well put together manuals. You can see here, it does seem to be quite thorough. Shows us how we can connect this, and it does come in a bunch of different languages as well. So very thorough. We'll reference that if we need to. Here we have our power supply cable right here. One part power supply, so we don't have to connect two different cables together. Here we have a regular HDMI, and back here looks like we have a mounting bracket. I assume that's what that is. Let's see if we can get it out of here. Oh, nice. It's actually appears to just be a stand for this. All right, guys, here we have our mini PC, and I love the design here. Again, really blown away by how compact this is. I was expecting this because it is a mini tower. I thought it would be a mini tower that is a much larger size, because I've seen a lot of mini towers out there that really aren't that mini. This one is definitely compact, so that's awesome. We have a base right here. Now, looking at this, it's hard to tell just looking at it at first glance where you're going to find the bottom side to this. And of course, it's going to be the side that doesn't have any ports or buttons on it. This has the LCD display, which we'll see once we actually plug it in. So this simply lines up, magnetic connection there, so you can set it down. Now, right up here on top, we have two USB ports, regular USB ports, followed by two USB 3 ports. Power button down here. We have ventilation on the top as well. Now, if we were to look on this side, we have a little window here. Of course, we have all of our contact info, spec information right over here, which I think is awesome to have all of that listed. But we have a little window here where we can actually peek inside, and we can see the 16GB DDR4 RAM. So if we go to the left-hand side here, all we have to do is pry that up, and it's a magnetic connection here as well. But we have full access in here to the DDR4 16GB RAM. We also have access to our two M2 SSD slots over here. And one of them obviously comes with either, with this model, you're going to get a 512GB or a 1TB. This right here is the 512 SSD. But we have an open slot there where we can actually add in another one if we wanted to. And I might end up doing that. I'm not sure how I want to demo this today, but certainly would be a nice option to put in a Batocera SSD in there. And then we can just simply change the boot order and have everything installed internally rather than using an external SSD. So that would be a cool option. We can certainly go the external route too. We'll figure that out momentarily. But yeah, up here at the top, love the layout of that. Very easy to also power this on by just simply hitting the power button right on top. Front here has the LCD display, which is going to give you a bunch of information like time, temperature, computer status, as well as, of course, a bunch of additional information there. And then the other side here is just going to give you basically just the logo. So we're going to flip this over to the back side now. And over here, we can obviously open everything up if we want to open this up a little bit more than we can just from the side access. We have two Ethernet ports here, auxiliary port up here at the top. We also have two HDMI ports, which is awesome. So you can use this with two different displays if you wanted to. I love that that came on here stock like this. I'm probably just going to use one today, but love the options here depending on what you want to use this for. Maybe not so much gaming, but if you wanted to use this for other things, two displays is definitely an awesome feature to have. Then down here we have our power supply cable connection. So that's how we will take our power supply cable, which I have right here. Simply plug that in, and we'll be able to fire this up. All right, so we're going to power this on. And you can see as we power this on, everything in the front is going to start to light up. But we're not going to get our display here until we actually boot into Windows 11. So we'll get the AceMagic logo, but we're not going to get any of that information until we actually log into Windows. All right, so here we are booted up into Windows 11, and you notice how our LCD screen on our mini PC is actually displaying all of our information. So if we look closely on here, we have our CPU power displayed, we have our CPU temperature displayed, we have our main load percentage, we have our fan speed, and we also have our CPU percentage for the load displayed on here as well. All right, guys, so we just unplugged all of our cables. So we're going to bring this around to the other side here, and we're going to go ahead and pry this side panel off. We're going to just bring it down like this. All right, and over here you can see where we would go ahead and install another SSD if we want to. It does have to be an M2 SSD, so I'm going to go ahead and there's a little screw right here. I'm just going to remove that. That's actually how we secure everything in place today. And it definitely helps if you have a magnetic tipped screwdriver. Here is my 2 terabyte M2 SSD. Very simple. It just plugs directly in right over here. Go ahead and just secure that in place. And you notice how this side actually kicks up. That's where we're going to take our screw, put it on the end of our screwdriver, and we're just going to lightly press that down, center it, and we should be able to go ahead and screw in our screw to secure everything. All right, so that's nice and safe and secure on here. So all we have to do now is simply replace our side panel, and we're going to actually boot this up into Batocera via that SSD we just installed. All we have to do is just change the boot order on here, and we're good to go.
Love.
One, fight!
Alright guys, absolutely love the design of this mini PC. I think it's one of the coolest designs out there on the market for mini PCs. I like how compact it is. I was expecting this to be at least 50% larger than it turned out to be. And having a compact setup like this is huge. Now, I love that we have the USB ports located on top. I either want them located on top or in front, and in front here we can't have them there because we have our LCD display screen, which we're going to talk about momentarily. So easy to access the USB ports. Those are going to be the ports that the majority of us are using the majority of the time. I'm constantly plugging in flash drives, micro SD card readers, controllers, a mouse, a keyboard, all of that stuff. I'm constantly moving one thing in, one thing out, and to not have to physically pick up my PC and move it around is awesome. It's just very convenient to just have everything right on top. Just unplug one thing, plug in another, or whatever you need to do there. It's very easy. We also have the power button on top, excellent ventilation on here. I've jumped into a wide range of games for a long period of time today, and this barely heated up. And because of that LCD display there, it's very easy to track your computer's vital information. We don't have to dive into our computer to figure out, what the fan speed is, or to see, what the internal temperature is. We have everything right there for us to just take a quick glance at, make sure everything's firing on all cylinders, verify everything. It just doesn't get any more convenient than that. Now, I will mention you have to be into Windows in order for that to populate in. If you jump into an external SSD like Batocera, you're not going to get all those features on the front. It's just going to say AceMagic across the front of your PC. So I do want to make mention of that. You do need to be into Windows 11 for all that information to pull over. But now on the back side, we have dual HDMI ports on here, which I think is great to be able to use this, or to have the ability to use this with dual monitors. If I was using this more for a home PC or an office PC, then dual monitors would be huge for me. I love using two monitors, especially when I'm doing video editing. It just makes everything that much more efficient for me personally. So having that capability on here is huge. Also, the auxiliary port on the back is great for people that want to mod arcade cabinets. So whether you want to do an original, arcade 1-up cabinet mod, or you want to go to an old school arcade cabinet and modify that, having an auxiliary port on here gives you tons of different options for connecting to external speakers, or just gives you a wider range of different setups that you could bring into your experience. So I think most people probably will just go off of the HDMI connection, but it just depends what you want in your setup, and sometimes external speakers on arcade cabinets are much easier, so something like this would be huge for that. Now, I love the fact that we have this easily accessible side panel on our PC. We literally just open that up. We have full access to our RAM in here, so if you wanted to make adjustments there, you certainly can do that very easily. Same thing with your SSDs. You can add an SSD, as we did here today with Batocera. You can upgrade the one that's already installed in here. I believe you can go up to 2 terabytes on here. Sometimes they say that there's limitations, but you can actually exceed those. I'm not sure where things are set up there. I did install a 2 terabyte and it worked perfectly. But, beyond that, I'm just not sure. But awesome capabilities on here, awesome options on here. All right, so let's talk about the performance of this mini PC now. If you plan to use this as your home or office PC, you're going to have a great experience on here. This can handle just about any of your day-to-day PC functions perfectly. You can jump onto YouTube, you can watch YouTube videos on here. You can do pretty much anything work related on here. You can do word processing, you can scroll through different web pages, you can do it all. It's not going to have any shortcomings there. You can watch Netflix movies or shows on here, just unlimited capabilities there. It's definitely fast, it's got good speed, all the necessary specs to get you through any experience that you'd want on here. Now, with gaming, there are some limitations. Now, I did try to jump into Windows 11 and I downloaded Steam. I jumped into a few games, and games do load in, but we just don't have specs that are going to get us through those modern day video games. Now, retro gaming on here is a different story. We have a great experience with retro gaming, and that's why I installed that SSD with Batocera on it, loaded with games, so we could dive into a wide range of game collections. And we jumped into everything from early Atari all the way up through the more challenging collections. Now, in the demo portion of this video, I didn't show you guys all of the more basic games or game collections just to save time and not make this video go on and on forever. But we jumped into everything from Atari all the way up to Nintendo Switch, and for the most part, everything worked really well. We weren't able to get into PS3. PS3 titles would load in, but they were just an absolute disaster. Nothing was playable. Wii U was a pretty decent experience for the majority of titles. Some were just a little bit too much for this to handle, and the same could be said for Nintendo Switch. You guys saw here with Nintendo Switch, we jumped into Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, which is a game that I test out a lot because I'm very familiar with it, and I can really gauge the performance of how this PC is going to handle Nintendo Switch from that. It was a little choppy in some spots, but it was still very much playable. There's going to be some Nintendo Switch games that are very much playable, almost perfect in fact, and then there's going to be some that just absolutely fall short and you just have, an insane amount of screen tearing, audio issues, and lag. So very much hit or miss with Nintendo Switch. I would say hit or miss with Wii U as well. Now everything prior to that, aside from PS3, is going to run pretty well on here. PS2, I didn't have any issues with. Original Xbox was good. GameCube was good. Original PlayStation was good. N64 was very good on here. Dreamcast, no issues whatsoever. Sega Saturn, great. And everything prior to that. If all those games and game collections run well, everything prior to it is going to be perfect as well. So you just have to, at the end of the day, gauge what you're looking for out of your mini PC. If you're going to use this as a home or office PC, you're good to go. If you want to use this for gaming as well, you now know what those limitations are going to be. So if you're looking for something that's going to play a lot of Nintendo Switch emulation, this isn't going to be the PC for you. If you are looking for something to dive into Steam with, this isn't going to be the PC for you. But everything prior to that is going to be a great experience. So just gauge, what you're looking for, and if it lines up, this is definitely a great option. Now, at the time of this video, the price was $299.95, but they do have a lot of different sales going on, and currently at the time of this video, they have $80 off on Amazon right here, right now. So definitely check that out. I'm going to put a link up here at the top of your screen, and they are always doing different sales. So if you aren't catching a sale right now where it's $80 off, if you're watching this video, a month after I post it, then definitely click the link though, because they're always doing different sales. So it could be more, it could be less. Just, click the link and you'll find out. So that's going to do it for today. Let me know what you guys thought of this mini PC though in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the content today, please give me a thumbs up on the video. It's a huge help to me here on YouTube as I try to further grow the channel. But that's going to do it for today. Thank you guys so much for the support. I'll see you on the next video.